Hi guys, welcome back again to another MATHNALO moment with Ma'am Coren. For today's visual lesson, we are going to discuss about the Cartesian Coordinate System. So maybe you're confused, bakit kaya kakaibang notebook sa math? Bakit kaya it has grids unlike the other subject? So actually, that is what we are going to use for this Cartesian Coordinate System. So let us study this one. Before we have that, let me introduce to you the inventor of this Cartesian coordinate system. So the inventor of our Cartesian coordinate system is René Descartes. He is actually a French mathematician, philosopher, and scientist. And because of him, we were able to link algebra and geometry that what we call today is another field of mathematics, which is analytic geometry. That is why he is considered the father of this field, and he is the inventor of the Cartesian plane. So how did he invented this Cartesian plane? According to the stories, he is a bedridden person. And in one of those lying days in his bed, he happened to saw a fly flying around his ceiling. And because of that fly, he really wanted to locate the exact location of the fly in his ceiling. Having the concept of a point and then locating it to a certain area, we were able to have the Cartesian coordinate system. So let us have the Cartesian plane. So the picture on the left is what we call the Cartesian plane. In some books, it is named as XY plane. It is also called as the rectangular coordinate system or the coordinate system, the coordinate plane, rectangular coordinate system, or simply the Cartesian plane named after his inventor. So the xy plane or the Cartesian plane is made up of two perpendicular number lines. So you're already familiar with a horizontal number line. This time we have two perpendicular number lines. One is horizontal and the other one is vertical. And we call the point of intersection as our origin. The horizontal line is what we call the x-axis, while the vertical line is what we call the y-axis. The two axes divide the plane into four quadrants that are numbered in counterclockwise direction. So for starting from the upper right, we have quadrant 1. And then since we have the counterclockwise direction, we have here quadrant 2, we have quadrant 3, and then we have quadrant 4. Be reminded that the axes themselves are not part of any quadrant. So it is important also to have the coordinates of the point. So let us have the coordinates of the point. So every point on the plane can be described in terms of an ordered pair, x, y. So an ordered pair is actually a pair of numbers used to locate a point on the coordinate plane. The values x and y are also known as the coordinates of the point. So the absolute value of x indicates its distance from the y-axis, while the absolute value of y indicates its distance from the x-axis. So that's why the coordinates of the origin is 0, 0. So for the point 4, 7, 4 is what we call the x-coordinate, and 7 is what we call the y-coordinate. It is also important to note that various names are used to describe the x and y axis. The x-axis is often called the horizontal axis or axis of abscissa, and the y-axis is called the vertical axis or axis of ordinate. The latter terminology would require that the coordinates of the points xy be referred to as abscissa and ordinate. So aside from x-coordinate, we can call it as abscissa, and for the y-coordinate, we have ordinate. And combining them, we call them as coordinates. So the first number in the coordinate pair tells you how many units along from the origin in the point is in the x direction. So if you're given with a positive number, it means the point is right of the origin, while if you have a negative number, it means it is on the left. The second number in the coordinate pair tells you how many units above or below the origin the point is in the y direction. So if we are given with a positive number, it means that the point is above the origin, and a negative number indicates that it is below. So if we have 4, 7, actually, any point can be plotted on the coordinate plane using its coordinates. So the first coordinate in an ordered pair indicates the horizontal movement, that is right or left, right if it is positive, left if it is negative. And the second coordinate indicates the vertical movement, that is up or down. So for us to locate the point 4, 7, 4 tells us how far to move along the x-axis. So we count 4 steps in the positive x direction. So that is 4. The second number in the pair, 7, tells us how far to move in the y direction. So we count 7 steps in the positive y direction. So now we have reached the point that represents the pair of the numbers 4, 7. So we must place a dot on that point. So you can say that you have plotted or drawn the point 4, 7. So that is what we call plotting a point. So in plotting a point, we can graph or plot a point given its coordinate. So we must begin at the origin, then move to the right or left along the x-axis using the number indicated by the absolute value of the first coordinate. Afterwards, from that position on the x-axis, move up or down using the number indicated by the value of the second coordinate. And then lastly, do not forget to draw a dot to represent the point described by the coordinates. So let us plot the point 3, 5. This is actually point A. By the way, in naming a point, we use capital letters. So in order for us to plot 3, 5, again, we begin at our origin, 0, 0. Then we move 3 units to the right since 3 is positive. Afterwards, we move 5 units, yes, that is upward, since that is also positive. We place a dot, then we name it as point A. So actually the arrows are not needed, but if you are starting in plotting a point, so you may use those guidelines. Let us try point B. So since that is negative 2 as our first coordinate, we have to move 2 units to the left of the origin. And then 6 units upward, since the second coordinate is positive. Then we place a point, and that is point B. Next, we have point C. So we have negative 1. So negative, so we are going to move to the left. Then negative 5 downwards. So we have here point C. So this time, let us plot point D. So for the first number, or first coordinate, we have 4. So we move 4 units to the right of the origin. Then 4 units again downward, since the sign of our ordinate is negative. We place a dot, and that is point D. As you would notice in plotting point, the intersection of our grid line is the exact location of points A, B, C, and D. For point E, we have 0, 6. So notice that the abscissa or our x-coordinate is 0, meaning there is no movement along the x-axis. So we start again with the origin and then 6 units upward along our y-axis. So this is point E. How about if we have point F, which has coordinates of -3, 0. So we move 3 units to the left of the origin. And then since we do not have, or the value of the second coordinate or ordinate is 0, that will be the location of the point F. So since you are already familiar with plotting up points, this time let us identify the quadrants. Based from our discussion a while ago, we know that we have 4 quadrants in a Cartesian plane. So this time, we are going to determine the quadrant for a given ordered pair by simply considering the signs of the coordinates. So if we are given with a coordinates which has a sign that is both positive, it means that the point lie on the first quadrant. If we have coordinates which has a sign of negative positive, it means that the point is in the second quadrant. And then if we have both signs that are negative, it means that the point is in the third quadrant. And then if we have positive, negative, it means that the point is in the fourth quadrant. So for the first quadrant, all its point has sign which is positive, positive, meaning the movement of the point is from right, then upward. For quadrant 2, we have negative, positive, which is left and then upward. For the quadrant 3, we have negative, negative, meaning we move to the left and then downwards. And lastly, for quadrant 4, we have positive, negative, meaning the movement of point is from positive and then going downward. So let us try to have the following example. So for the first one, we have 11, -22. So since that is positive, negative, yes, that is located in quadrant 4. If we have 6, 12, they are both positive. Therefore, we can locate them in quadrant 1. If we have -7, -24, correct, that is located in quadrant 3. And then lastly, if we have -27, 19, it can be located at, yes, quadrant 2. How about if we have 0, -9? Yes, the first coordinate is 0, meaning this point lies in the y-axis. How about if we have 15, 0? This time our ordinate is 0, meaning this point lies in our x-axis. And if we have the coordinate 0, 0, where can we locate this point? Correct. It is in our origin. So for the last part, let us identify the coordinates of a point. This time, you will be given with the point and we are tasked to identify its coordinates. So in determining or identifying the coordinates of the point, first, we draw a vertical line passing through the point and the x-axis. The number associated to the point on the x-axis is our first coordinate. And then draw a horizontal line passing through the point and the y-axis. The number associated to the point on the y-axis is our second coordinate. So let us try. For point A, what are the coordinates of point A? So again, we draw a vertical line. So that is associated with -7. So that will be our first coordinate. And then we have -3 along our y-axis. So the coordinates of point A is -7, -3. How about for point B? Yes, we can draw the vertical and horizontal line, and then look along the x-axis and y-axis. And the coordinates are, yes, it's 2, 4. How about point C? We draw again a vertical and horizontal line. So we have, yes, -1, 2. For point D, we have, correct, that is -4, 6. How about point E? Yes, we have 1, -2. Point F. So for point F, notice that the point already lies on our x-axis. And we know that when a certain point lies on our x-axis, correct, the y-coordinate is 0. So therefore, the coordinates of the point F are -5, 0. For point G, we have, yes, we have 7 for the first coordinate, and then we have -7. So therefore, we have the coordinates 7, -7. How about point H? Now, it lies along the y-axis. So this time, the x-coordinate will be 0, and the value of the y-coordinate is, correct, 4. So we have the coordinates of H as 0, 4. How about the location of point I? Yes, that is 0, 0 since point I is already our origin. So lastly, let us have point J. As you would notice, point J is not plotted at the intersection of 5, 3, neither 6, 3. But if we place a vertical line, we have the line at the middle of 5 and 6, meaning the first coordinate is actually 5.5, can also be 5 and 1/2. So be careful in plotting point. For the rest of the letters or the point a while ago, it is already placed at the intersection between the lines or the grid lines. This time, it is placed at the middle. So therefore, there is a decimal or fractional part as our coordinates. And then if we place a horizontal line, so it indicates 3. So therefore, the coordinates of J are 5.5, 3. So why do we need to study this Cartesian coordinate plane? Actually, this Cartesian coordinate plane is widely used up to this day. So why? Can you still remember your lesson in Araling Panlipunan about latitude and longitude? So actually, that is one application of the coordinate plane, and it is used to locate places in our map. Also, the typhoon tracking uses the coordinate plane. And if you happen to watch a movie, so the there is a letter and then a number. So that also uses the concept of Cartesian plane. So that is all for our visual lesson for today. I guess you have learned about plotting points, determining the quadrants, as well as the coordinates of points. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful moment and MATHNALO moment with me. Once again, this is Ma'am Karen. Have a great day.